Okay, back again, Animoji Gaming. So I tried to play Resident Evil 6, which is basically the last game that I tried to play on the Resident Evil triple pack on the PlayStation 4 digital version, which I probably bought for around $15, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm just finished eating my main dish for my brunch after creating Mavia 3 and Resident Evil 5 Animoji for almost 2 hours. If no, it's not immediately because there are more than 1 hour breaks. And right now, after this, it's actually only 10 minutes break for eating my brunch from the Mavia 3 into the Resident Evil 6. Because yeah, I just wanted to finish this as fast as possible in order to be able to get some time gap for my things that I wanted to do for around 1 hour. So yeah, this video is around 1 hour and 5 minutes or 6 minutes, I'm not sure. But yeah, probably this is pretty much like an arcade game as well, so it's not really scary for some reason, especially when I'm actually trying to play as the character which have more than one partner. So basically we are just a group of army or special army, I guess, I'm not sure. The Chris Redfield and also the other partner which I forgot what was the name. So yeah, going to have some which is pretty weird to be honest. Even though the prologue is actually we are trying to play as Leon and also the other partner which I'm quite forgotten. So we are still in the first person for a very short time, which is basically unnecessary because the rest of this game was going to be a third person, obviously, just like a classic Resident Evil that was released on PlayStation 2, even though this was a PlayStation 3 games, obviously. And that's the reason why I am also trying to play this on the Nintendo Switch, because I think it's pretty great to have PlayStation 3 games in a portable console, which is obviously not able to be done on mobile yet, unless you're trying to play or use
it's not over yet.
The PSP or PlayStation 2 or even GameCube. So this is also the
hang in there, Helena.
So for some reason the enemies is also from a group of people that wanted to
I'll only slow you down.
That
Just
wanted
go.
to kill the remaining survivor, or the people who's basically
You're not getting off that easy.
not gonna be following them, I guess, I'm not sure. So this is actually the partner. He seems to be dying, but he's definitely gonna be recover, obviously, because we
after all we've been through, it'd be a waste to give up now.
So Leon S. Kennedy is basically one of the favorite characters as well for many Resident Evil fans, besides Chris Redfield, because maybe it's just pure look like a Japanese, I guess, I'm not sure. No, obviously all of the environment of this place is actually in America. But yeah, his hair always seems to be iconic, like Final Fantasy characters for some reason. Basically, during the prologue, obviously we cannot do many things.
Let's try this
It's
way.
like just going into forward
We're
without
almost
any
through
weapon,
this.
obviously. And the helicopter seems to be still watching for some reason. I just don't get it. It actually reminds me of the Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, which is also kill any peoples that besides them in the asylum. Even though there are some things
Let's
that
take a break.
more and not make any sense rather than Resident Evil. So yeah, there are some sort of superpower humans.
There's gotta be a first aid kit in here somewhere.
Maybe in Resident Evil it was able to be kind of exist like that, but of course it was created by some sort of experiments, unlike the Metal Gear Solid, which just eventually exists. That's the reason why it's pretty weird. So
Makes me
there's no
sick
map,
seeing good
so
soldiers
we
die like this.
had to go in around of the place, find the damn healing kit, even though we cannot turn back as well, so probably it's only in this place.
Leon, are you there?
Hunnigan,
Good to hear you're okay. Where's Helena?
she's not doing too good. She needs medical attention.
Do you have any herbs left?
A few, but I'm not sure they'll help.
Herb.
Okay, listen. Just follow my instructions.
Can be cured. Anything. So it's called Helena, and the Hunnigan is actually still alive, just like the Resident Evil 4. And those guys,
Too many
those
good agents have died here today. You're not getting added to that list.
Acid driver is actually already turned into a zombie after this. So they still try to provide a similar thing as well. So it's just suddenly a jump scare. So, yeah, just unnecessary jump scare.
Can't let your guard down for a second. How do you feel?
I think I'm gonna be okay. Thank you.
Leon, what are you doing? You need to get out of there, now!
So
we're heading to the quad tower.
Getting injuries as well.
It's too dangerous.
There are BSA agents there with survivors. I can't abandon them.
Alright. Then let me help. I'll direct you through the safest route.
Thanks, Hunnigan.
I've sent over the field guide to your PDA. You can always refer to that in a pinch.
But the characters of Leon is also pretty similar, like a time crisis for some reason. Virtual cop, I guess, I don't know. Or maybe the guns, and the handgun is pretty much like a time crisis handgun.
What the hell?
Even though we cannot switch switch characters unless we are trying to decide it in the beginning of the mission, which is pretty annoying. That's the reason why they try to fix or improve it on the Resident Evil regulations. Yeah, for some reason, it's pretty weird. Even in Resident Evil 5, we
Hunnigan,
cannot
can we make it to the tower this way?
characters.
Yes, just keep moving in that direction.
Not sure. It's not possible. Even if we talk about the Resident Evil 4 Ashley is only able to change some very specific occasionally. So great. Just seems to be didn't wear any armors. So maybe it's not really the BSA agent as well. Or just a girlfriend of Leon, perhaps, I'm not sure. But he seems to be able to handle with the guns as well, obviously. This is not gonna be like Resident Evil Revelation or Resident Evil 4, which is the partner not really useful for some reason. So, yeah, top of the zombie seems to be not really similar like the Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil 5 zombie, which really mutated. So this zombie seems to be pretty much like regular zombies. You know, yeah, for some reason it's still pretty hard to play this because, yeah, it seems to be pretty narrow in terms of the place. Man, I'm just started to tired holding the phone again, even though it's just 12 minutes running, so there's still 53 minutes remaining, which is pretty long. Yes, yeah, I definitely get an interruption so I can finish this video before doing several things or quite long breaks again. Even I'm not sure whether I will get interrupted or not when I try to do the last video, which is the Mavia 2 for around 1 hour and 17 minutes, because it is actually the longest, so the longest is actually the last that I tried to do. I was usually trying to do the longest first. I don't know, because I'm pretty confident that I got the free time, so I decided to do the shortest first. So we can actually carry much many weapons, which is basically not make any sense, obviously, but yeah, I consider this is more like a Grand Theft Auto 5, which can carry very big weapons at once.
Over here! Get it!
So they try to do some unique perspective on his Resident Evil 6 as well, in order to make this game not really bored just using guns, because yeah, if it's all about the add-on characters in this game, is gonna be needed to solve certain puzzle as well, which is because I eventually need to watch video on the YouTube in order to solve the damn puzzles. It seems to be already safe in the helicopter, but it turns out it's just fall down again for no reason. It's just pretty weird.
This thing's gonna hold up much longer.
So they obviously didn't implement helicopter control in the game, so you only need to press certain buttons only. Just don't get it why he tried to save an army who's actually already become zombies. And I'm already pretty tired as well. For some reason, the subway is still working. Maybe this is still the very beginning of the outbreak, so that's the reason why everything seems to be still perfectly. Not sure what city was actually this is. It seems to be like New York, but I don't know. Because for the Christmas, we will actually gonna be in the Tokyo, I guess.
All right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it seems to be pretty lucky because if the glass was break during his fall, will definitely eaten by the alien and the zombies and already become one as well. Or maybe they will just die because he's already got injected by the fires as well.
Something doesn't
during the
feel
Resident
right.
Evil 4. I'm not sure. Maybe it seems to be immune, like the Ellie in The Last of Us. So this was actually the end of the prologue, and we can actually continue this, but it's gonna be fight with the boss. I'm not sure because yeah, I decided to do with another character instead after this. Then try to skip into the final act of the first
Back
one of
for
these
more.
characters, which is not really have, which is pretty short and not really have so boss. So maybe monster, I'm not sure.
Resident Evil 6.
And actually, all of the characters will actually meet in the same place, perhaps, I'm not sure. Because if I'm not mistaken, the final mission is actually fighting with giant animal zombies, perhaps. And the ship. It was actually betrayed, I guess, I'm not sure. So there are 4 characters that we can choose. So yeah, besides we are also able to do the chapter select directly so we can actually move. Or start from the end of almost the end of the missions. Because yeah, if I try to do it from the beginning, like when I tried to do, it's gonna be wasting pretty much time. If no, it's only if there's only 4 main missions, so that's the reason why they try to make each of the mission is pretty long. because there are also 4 different characters' perspective. This is actually the last Resident Evil in terms of outside the spin-off that was actually still in third person only, because Resident Evil 7 will focus on the first person, even though mistaken later at the time that they were trying to release Resident Evil 8, they was trying to release the third person view, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, if you talk about the scariness of the Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, it's actually pretty much like the Resident Evil 4 or even scarier, because yeah, they try to make it like that in order to please the fans, especially to the people that try to do the speed run into the games, because yeah, they think the game is so easy to be completed and not scary at all, obviously. And to be honest, I just don't get it why I just tried to check some collectibles, which is basically unnecessary. Instead of continuing the game immediately. So yeah, it was released in 2012. I think it was before the Resident Evil Revelation, which is on 2013, I guess, and 2015. And even for the collectibles, it also looked like an arcade machine. So yeah, this is really an arcade games. See, there's not many things that you can upgrade with your characters, even though there is skill settings. But yeah, it's obviously not good made. The character's different, perhaps, I'm not sure. So yeah, I tried to use Chris, and I tried to start from the beginning, even though we can actually directly jump into the end of the chapter or the final act of the chapter, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, if you try to jump directly, you will never see the cutscene as well, so I'm not sure whether the cutscene will be unlocked or not. Yeah, it's pretty much like it. So maybe because this game is actually able to be played online as well, it's actually the first time, I'm not sure, because yeah, at least for the co-op, I guess. So the second character is called Pierce, but I obviously try to do it as Chris, because yeah, it seems to be more badass, obviously. And I didn't notice that every time that we try to play some games, it is actually try to open up a new use for games, even though it's still definitely not possible because I didn't subscribe to the PlayStation Network. So maybe if I try to put this game in the PC, I will finally able to play this with online players. So right now on my Steam, I only had Resident Evil 5 because yeah, that's the reason why I'm trying to mod it, because I used to play it before the PC,
Another
when
round.
I'm still having a very old gaming PC. That's actually, I'm trying to buy it again, even though I used to sell it, but I tried to buy it again from a different seller, obviously. And for some reason, the
Hard to
place
find a
is
good steak
still
around
not
here.
infected yet.
Not like back home.
So I just don't get it. Is it actually happens after the Resident Evil 5 or not? Because it seems to be pretty stressful.
Fill her up.
Even though the Jill
You've had
is
enough.
actually still alive in Resident Evil 5,
Listen,
and I'm
sweetheart.
not sure whether she's actually
You're here to pour drinks. You
will
look
going
pretty.
to die for
So
real,
how about you
or
shut your
actually
mouth?
will be safe.
Get the hell out of my bar.
Just don't get it. But the story, just like the Resident Evil movie,
Nowhere to go.
from the Extinction, Afterlife, Retribution, or the Alice.
Dama vas je
Resident Evil
zamolila da ode.
seems to be pretty weird for some
I said
people.
she asked
Think
you
it's
to
about the
leave.
continuation. But yeah, it still look pretty sick.
Never
for
thought
the
I'd find Chris
franchise.
Redfield wasting away in a shithole like this.
Okay.
So it seems to be in a rush
The hell
for
are
some
you?
reason. And then the Spears
Piers.
seems to be
Piers Nivens?
coming to
Never
save
heard of you.
it.
How about this? You heard of this?
What is that?
You really don't remember anything, do you? Bioterrorism.
So I tried to pull up the E8400 processor record to do again.
You can't
With
hide
a
from your
different
past, Chris.
motherboard.
No matter where you go or what you do.
Previously I used
Who are you?
Asus motherboard,
What is
and right
this?
now I'm using the BioStar
You don't
motherboard,
remember me?
which
Well, how about that?
already support DDR3 memory, I
Look.
guess, because previously I only tried.
I said, look!
Previously,
Those were your
motherboard
men!
only support
Men who died under your command!
Perhaps, I'm not
You
sure.
owe it to them to remember, Chris! If you walk away now,
Because
then
I'm still
this was
using
all for nothing!
VGen memory.
Damn it. 6 months of searching for you. And this is what I
So I
find.
was actually stressed because he's maybe already captain for the team, and then most of the people that's under him is basically die. So it's
Yeah.
not about Jill Valentine. And
It's
yeah,
where you belong.
sadly we didn't see
Everyone's waiting.
her again on this Resident Evil. Perhaps, I'm not sure, because she's actually exists on the Resident Evil Revelation, obviously, because it was as a
taking you
prequel
back,
to
Captain.
Resident Evil
One way or
between
another.
Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. So that's the reason why.
I can't keep running away. I have to face the truth. Accept responsibility. That's the only
This is
way I'll
actually
ever remember.
weird.
The only way I'll
Zombies,
get my
because
life
it's
back.
use of guns.
HQ to Alpha Team. No change to your mission. Suppress the bioterror
Still
outbreak while
that's the
proceeding to
way
point
of
Ace of
feeding.
Spades.
Roger that. Prepare your drop on the 8 o'clock. We'll
So
make our way to the
we're
Ace of
actually going
Spades.
into
Find those
China,
UN
so
workers.
maybe the Tokyo is actually the one that was experienced by Leon and Helena. I'm not sure. Or it is actually New York. And yeah, this is actually like Hong Kong, probably. I'm not sure whether it is actually a real city in China or not. But yeah, this is actually, maybe they try to provide the international places in Resident Evil 4 game, Resident Evil games, just like when they already tried to do with Africa in Resident Evil 5 and Europe in Resident Evil 4. Now they try to going into Asia for Resident Evil 6, then try to come back into America again, perhaps on Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. not sure because there
Good
are
HQ.
several others.
We've encountered hostiles at Diamond 3.
Even
Moving
worse,
in to
perhaps.
engage.
Even more arcade.
HQ copy.
Quite forgot. So yeah, the moving of the character seems to be pretty weird because my gamepad or joystick, PlayStation 4 DualShock controller is actually on the drift for the left analog, so that's the reason why it's like stuttering move. So yeah, we actually have so many backups or teams. So yeah, it's basically not making the games scary, but yeah, it's still pretty hard because the zombie can use the guns. I just don't get it.
I'm on it.
Our mission is pretty much like Water Army.
The PSAA has arrived on the scene. Excuse me, can I get a comment, please? Excuse me.
Sure.
Is this outbreak related to the situation back in the States? Is the PSAA involved there as well?
Look at
For
this.
some reason, there are reporters during this kind of outbreak.
All civilians,
Well,
clear out of
that's
the way.
pretty weird. So even though I was actually buying my old processor again, the E8400, which I tried to buy for around $30, which is pretty cheap during when I tried to buy the third generation i3 for around $100. And right now, my i3 third generation chip is already in the same price of when I tried to buy the E8400 Core 2 Duo, or even cheaper, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm actually really wanted to upgrade my PC again, but I'm not sure what is the most appropriate ones because yeah, I
Switch
really
course
want
from
to
Route 4 to Route
buy
9.
the
Head to the
motherboard that's
destination through the
already
building in the 6
the
o'clock.
next DDR version of RAM, maybe DDR4, because yeah, DDR4 is not as expensive as the DDR5 memory. And also the motherboards probably a little bit cheaper because DDR4 is already exists
Alpha is en route to Asus phase.
8 or 9 generation
After they
of
rendezvous with
Intel.
Delta, we will proceed with the
DDR5
operation
is
as
just
planned.
recently introduced on 12th generation, which is almost the latest Intel processor or AMD AM4. The newest AM4, even though there is already AM5, which obviously support DDR5 as well. But for the PCIe, it's most likely still version 3 because the PCIe version 4 is actually exists on the 12th generation as well. The latest AM4 before the AM5, obviously. If I'm not mistaken, the AM5 is already, the 13th generation of Intel is already implemented PCIe version 5. That's the reason why their processor is very expensive.
HQ, we're currently engaged with hostiles in the 4
Reason
mark.
the PCIe
Not looking
version
good.
4 is
Requesting immediate
just
backup.
have a very short
HQ to Charlie.
life.
Assist Bravo with the 4 of hearts.
Even though, yeah, there is not much difference since the PCIe version 3. Unless you are trying to do with rendering, perhaps, or even mining, I'm not sure. So the performance for gaming is not really
Killing unarmed civilians. They're gonna really love us.
Gaming is all about gauging on the graphic card itself, so that's the reason why the VRAM is also not really matters. So we are already more of the halfway of the video, and we're actually not meet
I'm on
any enemies yet. So I didn't use any guns. Even though I'm not sure whether the guns is actually already exists
Shield yourself.
or not. So yeah, this is actually the first enemy. And it seems to be cannot
We've
be
made
die
contact with Duavo. It's the same kind we dealt with back in
and
Estonia.
able to use guns. That's the weirdest things. It's called Duavo because it can use guns. That's pretty weird. So they're basically able to think like normal humans, perhaps. I'm not sure. And I'm starting to get tired, even though after this I need to immediately do something else. So I definitely cannot sleep or just trying to rest for a while. So it's still pretty long.
That's not good.
I'm not sure whether I actually try to skip or not. Then the Duavo is able to use rocket launcher, which is really weird. But yeah, if you talk about the final place on the Resident Evil 4 in the islands, so the army zombies is actually able to use rocket launcher as well. So yeah, that's the reason why it's pretty weird for some reason. Because I think in the
Still
movie
trying to
there
wrap my
is
head around what I'm seeing
something
here.
like that. Even for the movie that was called as World War Z. But yeah, it seems to be not using weapons. So, because yeah, the zombies by the numbers is already such as an advantage rather than the survivor, which
And the
obviously
chatter.
has
Ready?
very little numbers of people. And still 28 minutes. So definitely I only have around 2 minutes time gap. Probably for taking a rest for a while, I'm not sure. So yeah, some of them are still only using melee weapons, but yeah, if you talk about the melee weapons, it's pretty much like the same in Resident Evil 5. Or maybe later in Resident Evil 5 there is a zombie that can use weapons as well. Not sure. Because he would say about Edonia, whether it's Edonia is actually the place, the name of the place in the Resident Evil 5. So it was in Africa,
All
I'm
clear.
not sure. And one thing that I don't understand, why those zombies seems to be using a mask as well, like wanted to rob on something. Or maybe it's just wanted to make it a little bit scarier. Like a clown. So it's not really mindless after all.
Roger.
All clear.
So basically I'm just like guys that not really do many things. Just like a boss. Maybe because it's still the fairly at the early stage, because later it's eventually getting harder. So no longer a full team, perhaps, I'm not sure. Because yeah, just like one of the team has just died, or not. Oh, it's not, it's still alive. I thought it was actually become zombies.
Echo to HQ! Can't hold them up! Retreating from Diamond 3! HQ to Echo. What's going on?
So yeah, just try to
There's
use
just too many of them.
instead,
We
even
got
though
no choice. We have to
mostly
fall
able
back.
to use the assault rifles.
Shit.
It is in this actually. That's the only thing that basically able to make us to upgrade some things. I don't think there are other collectibles that we can find. So there is an assault rifle, but for some reason the weapons that can be carried is not as much as the Leon. I just don't get it. Even though their load seems to be have the same abilities. And even Chris's actually have a bigger body. So I think it's still far from the first the end of the first act, I'm not sure. Maybe I eventually try to skip it because I think most likely it's just not possible to finish this, really record everything inside this first the whole act. So it seems to be not dying just because of one shot. So this is actually the first boss. I'm not sure. Yeah, since it's definitely easier than the giant monster that we'll face by Leon and Helena. Only two people. So one of the team members is finally die. I'm not sure. So it's called Javo, not Diavo. But yeah, it seems to be pretty easy to die. I thought it was like a boss. But yeah, we will actually face more of this next later. So that's the reason why it's not considered as a boss. So I'm not sure whether the giant monster is actually faced by Leon. Because again, in the next act, because I think if the last act, I'm just trying to jump into the last act and
You two, stay here and tend to the wounded.
enemies that
HQ.
hard to kill is actually the big
four of us
guy,
heading along
the
Route
fat
9.
guy, which is yeah, pretty annoying for some reason. It's already more than 2 hours of creating Animoji, and yeah, it's already feels not as comfortable when I just started the mission, and my voice even already changed.
Roger.
Because maybe I drink too much cold
Enemy
water,
sighted!
obviously,
Find cover!
and try
Anyone
to
charging in?
talk
Just
too
hunker down and
much
pick a target.
as well. So that's the
HQ
reason
to all
why,
teams.
for some reason, I close my voice. So I really wanted to finish this fast, but still 20 minutes. So 20 minutes is pretty long. It seems to be fast when you are only trying to play GTA Online, perhaps, which is most likely wasted just for moving around the city. So that's the reason why it's very good to kill at times, even though for some reason it's also pretty sad because, yeah, I'm actually prefer to do productive things instead of just wasting my time there, unless I can really make it productive. So the other team member seems to be survived, so it's not killed. Maybe the ones that was killed is not from the same team. So it's still quite far from the final act because the final act was happened of the extraction of the hostages happen in some sort of apartment or house block that have many stairs. Maybe this we were just approaching it, or it's actually in the different buildings. Not sure.
HQ to Alpha. We've lost contact with the recon unit. Proceed with extreme caution.
So for some reason, the others seems to be already died. The other teams, I just don't get it. Because there will be one more different enemies rather than the one that basically have a giant hand, which is obviously harder to kill. Maybe it's like a portable Magini. I just don't get it. Because the final enemies is actually the spider zombies, small spider zombies. So they're still humans combined with spiders. I just don't get it. It's like Spider-Man, but it's not Spider-Man, obviously. Because he will take the hostages into pretty fast. That's the reason why we need to kill him pretty fast as well.
Man down!
HQ.
So it's already someone die.
HQ
Why
copy.
there's
Sending
someone
medics your
dies
way.
actually from other teams. Just don't get it. So the only collectibles that you find on every box is just skill points and also ammunition, perhaps. Obviously, this guy is a little bit hard to kill, so that's the reason why I prefer to use assault rifle now, rather than just a handgun previously. So it's pretty dark because of the HDMI video capture and and outside light. When I try to do this recording, I definitely need to turn on the brightest light that I have, so that's the reason why it's definitely make my screen even darker. And I'm also in the lowest brightness as well on my MacBook Air, so that's the reason why I actually see myself more clearly rather than the video itself if it's getting too dark. Just like when I try to see it on my Animoji screen as well on the phone, because my phone is also was the lowest brightness as possible, especially when
Q to Alpha Team.
That
tenement building up ahead is the Ace of Spades
as well, which is
The UN staff that have been taken hostage are inside. Proceed with extraction.
In the iPad is also not really possible, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's still pretty long to go into those buildings, so most likely I will try to skip at certain point that I didn't know, because from the beginning I still haven't skipped anything yet, I guess. Because we're going into the Ace of Spades building, which is pretty annoying. Because then there will be, we are like going into the same place over and over again, maybe because it was only a different floor, so that's the reason why.
HQ, we've encountered a Type 5 mutation.
Great. Meeting with the Spider Man, we're actually encounter a different zombies that basically can fly, but yeah, this is actually pretty common, perhaps, like in the movie as well.
Q. We've regrouped and are awaiting new orders. Things aren't going too well over at the Three of Diamonds. They need you down there. Roger that.
So I just don't get it about the Resident Evil. For some reason, the main characters actually always be the people basically kind of like that save the world. Because yeah, with those main characters, honestly, everything will turn into even worse, perhaps. I'm not sure. So yeah, this is actually pretty new as well, because besides it was also takes place in Asia, it seems to be in a more crowded city as well. I think it is more crowded than Raccoon City, or it's actually never had the point of view from the top of the building or skyscraper. So yeah, another checkpoint, unnecessary checkpoint. So yeah, is it the other guys are now separated from our partner? I'm not sure about the others. Two people.
I guess the muscle memory saved me there.
Hey, Pierce, I'm taking a little fire here. I can't hear that. You want to return the favor?
Not use any weapons. easiest difficulties, most likely we are not going to die. Perhaps, I'm not sure.
You're gonna need a hand here. Make your way back to me ASAP. We'll radio HQ for backup. You two proceed to the Ace of Spades.
This is what I don't really understand about what
Where
exactly
the hell do they keep coming from?
the objective, because it
Here,
seems to
can
be
I get some
really
cover?
repetitive between the top of the buildings, pretty much similar. So they tried able to fight with the enemies that I can see only. So we try to move around and check whether there is another road to regroup. I think we're actually trying to approach our partners to regroup with the teams.
HQ to Bravo. Alpha needs to move out to Ace of Spades. Can you relieve them? Roger. Coming in from the Four of Hearts. En route to assist.
How did they got the weapon in the first place as well? Maybe they were used to be a triads. Triads become a zombie. I'm not sure. That's really weird. So we're finally approaching 8 minutes. Definitely I will jump into the final scene, perhaps. I'm not sure. Because yeah, we're not even inside the Ace of Spades. It's definitely took more than 8 minutes. If you talk about the animation when fighting with hand-to-hand combat, it actually reminds me of Street Fighter. Maybe the Chris Redfield is actually inspired by Street Fighter characters. Ryu, perhaps, I'm not sure, because when I used to play Street Fighter, well, phone perhaps in the Engage, not sure. Because yeah, it's pretty much like Mortal Kombat, but in more animes way. So there's like a Kamehameha from Dragon Ball. So the power from Ryu. So yeah, the rest of the two team members seems to be already die. Just don't get it. Well, for the partners, obviously you cannot die because it will be the same partner in the next mission. So I'm not sure whether the skip of the
HQ to
video is
Alpha
actually
Team.
intentional.
You're almost at the Ace of Spades.
Because yeah, if it was not intentionally, it was a good thing because it's actually reduced the video not even longer than I was. I cannot imagine if I didn't try to skip the video.
RPG. HQ. We're taking some major heat over here. I don't think we'll make it in time to relieve Alpha. HQ here. Copy that.
Guess it's just the two of us then.
So the combat machine is like the Mexican combat machine. I guess I'm quite forgot what kind of movie that was pretty iconic with that. I pretty forgot the iconic Mexican actors that have long hair. Still pretty long, but the video, thankfully, it's only 5 minutes remaining. So I can finally take a short rest, hopefully, as well as doing a natural call before it, and do something else. Not sure whether I will try to continue the Mafia 2 in this day or I try to do it on the next day, because if I try to do it on the next day I will not have many free times as well, especially when I need to
First to HQ. We're at the Ace of Spades.
I need to go into
Copy that.
weekly places. And if
Bravo
I try
team
to
has been
do it
dispatched to
after it,
assist with
I'm not
search and
sure
rescue. Stand by for
get
instructions.
interrupted, so probably the best thing, I will try to do it some of it today if possible, perhaps. I'm not
Damn
sure.
it! We've been spotted. You're right on top of
For
us.
some reason I already run out of ammunition, perhaps for assault rifle. That's the reason why I tried to use a handgun, which actually like an assault rifle as well for some reason.
Speeds on the double.
Because it seems to be pretty automatic.
He's on, everyone.
Alpha team here. Roger that.
More
We'll
than
do what we
an
can to see you
hour.
get here.
I was trying to create this Animoji for this exact video without any interruption, thankfully. Unlike the Mavia 3, which I mistakenly pressed wrong buttons on my iPhone, which basically closed down the Animoji. So yeah, it's just all about holding, survive, seems to be, until the backup team arrive. The assault rifle is also pretty much like a Time Crisis assault rifle, perhaps. Not sure.
How many of these assholes do we have to kill? Where the hell's that backup?
It's pretty annoying because it seems to be they have better accuracy of the weapons. Finally, there is some backups, even though basically it's not really matters when they were the one that get killed by the monsters, by the zombies.
Don't leave any Swallows standing.
Instead,
Finally.
yeah, it was basically 2 minutes remaining, and I'm not sure whether it is actually sufficient to record the final cutscene of this chapter or not. Just basically try to stop the recording in the middle of the chapter and then try to continue it on the Twitch, or maybe never really continue on it, because I already know I will try to buy it on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm actually really skip into the final cutscenes.
VOW's about
And then try to
Copy
skip
that.
it again
Commencing with bombing.
until I've finally get out from the place and finish the mission, obviously. So it was
We're
not
trapped.
really.
What the hell do we do now?
I forgot about turn on the recording because it's already pretty long video, to be honest. Maybe I was do it intentionally, I'm not sure. So the zombie seems to be become turned into, it's like freezing, just not getting melted by the fire, I'm not sure. It's pretty simple. It's just fighting with the bad memories in the past. Just don't get it. Why? So yeah, this is already the end of this video. It's only 10 seconds remaining, and yeah, that's all.